Well, we're back at it with Nemesis Online. This time playing Gradius 2 NES Stage 3. Made by the same person who made a number of other interesting remakes of other stages for Nemesis Online recently. The stage is almost like a conversion of the NES version of Stage 3 of Gradius 2 into kind of like an arcade version. Similar to what Nemesis Online does with a lot of NSX Gradius stages, where it turns them into arcade levels. Not that hard, given that Nemesis there's already an arcade version of Gradius that exists, but whatever. Overall, I played this level before and kind of enjoyed it, although it's a bit difficult to play right off the bat, and easy to kind of fall into trap of playing it right off the bat, given that it is class is level 1, so it's accessible as soon as you load up Nemesis Online. Usually, best strategy I found thus far has been to kind of obtain the land missile and start using the up laser instead of the diagonal laser. Specifically because you can do little tricks like this where you can make the missiles go under the terrain. I don't think that's supposed to happen. I don't think it's actually an error on the level designer's part. I think that's just something to do with the hitbox. The actual missiles, they can actually clip through certain things. I think you can see that happening even in a lot of other levels made by other people. And I think the only time it would ever be a level design error is maybe if it was in my levels, because I make a lot of level design mistakes. Even though I like to think my levels are perfect, because, well, they are. This is kind of the point where the level becomes really difficult, because we've got volcanoes. I don't really do well with volcanoes. Up laser does a pretty decent job of destroying a lot of the rocks that are being shot out. It still kind of cause a lot of difficulty, because up laser doesn't really... It's like diagonal laser, where it doesn't fire very fast, or doesn't fire as often as you would want it to. But it still has a good attack range, which is what you want, especially for situations like this. And I kind of nearly died here, so I nearly crashed into this floating piece of terrain here. Luckily, I didn't crash into it. Well, seems like we're off to a really good start with the first half of the level. The NES version, stage is divided into two halves. You have the kind of standard volcanic plains area, and then you have this crystal level, which is a pretty simplistic level, but can get pretty difficult. The best weapon you want to get, if you're starting right off the bat anyway, like I am, is the ripple laser, because it's a large weapon. It kind of attacks a lot of enemies on screen, or it has large attack range, which makes it pretty helpful. And of course, it's very damaging too. Large hitbox is going to be a bit of a problem for us later on in the stage, but we'll deal with that, because the stage does give us a decent amount of power-ups later on. Speaking of power-ups, we're actually going to get rid of the up laser now, because not that it's useless, but it's not going to help us here when we need to attack enemies from awkward angles and such. Nothing actually really to write home about in this stage. Not too difficult. I actually find this area to be a little easier than the earlier level, especially since you have a bunch of crystals that can be destroyed. I think they're a kind of a reskin of the flying bone enemies. They're originally from Nemesis 1.5. It's based off the 5th level of Gradius for the MSX, which is why again, just bouncing crystals. I think in the original game they would have split apart, given that it's from the NES. They would have split apart in a really awkward way that would make them hard to dodge. I think anyway. I've never actually played, or I think I played the original NES version of Gradius 2, except I never actually got past the first level, I don't think. I don't remember. I know I played the arcade version, but I've never played the NES version. As you can see how, like, simple this level is. There's like a big wide area. It does get a little more difficult later on, because you actually have these crystals here that you can't actually destroy, which makes life a little awkward, especially if you're doing what I'm doing and you're like putting yourself in between the crystals. Not what you want to do, especially when you're using like a large ship like this, which it makes it hard to tell like where your hitbox is. Seeing as we're kind of near the boss, I'm going to try and put my focus into actually equipping the laser, or the regular laser, because the boss has kind of a small hitbox, so don't really want to be dealing with getting killed because I can't even hit the boss. Not like a problem, well, I don't really want to say it's a problem with Nemesis Online, but certain bosses in this game could be a pain because their hitboxes are kind of small, so kind of need to take some pretty crazy risks just so that you can damage them. Because, or at least you have to take risks if you are using a type of laser that has a large hitbox. Fighting our next boss, which is Crystal Core. I don't think this music was different in Gradius 2. I think this is straight from, or it's a remix of the Crystal Core's like boss theme from Gradius 3 when you fight in like the boss rush. The exception, of course, with Crystal Core itself, you can see that it's a little unique because it doesn't have the tentacles. I think they're like a bit awkward to actually insert into Nemesis Online, but there are videos of people actually inserting them successfully.